With all festivities duly observed, Game 3 starts and neither team scores through the first inning and a half. But in the last of the second, the Motor City machine starts cranking up, ready to move like a super V8. From Marty Castillo puts Detroit out in front 2-0, and the Tigers aren't done yet. San Diego pitching yields 11 walks this night, tying a series record. And that helps the Tigers cruise to a 4-run lead after 6. But in the 7th, the Padres have closed within 3, and that's when reliever Willie Hernandez gets the call. In a dream year, Hernandez had 32 saves and 33 chances. Right now, though, he enters the game with 2 out, Terry Kennedy at the plate, and Steve Garvey 90 feet away. Chet Lemon has it. For the Tigers, Lemon turns in some sweet glove work at a clutch time. Even sweeter, a 5-2 win in Game 3.
When the ball hit, I know it was a hot line drive, but when I pick out Chet, he was playing a little bit shadow. I don't know why he was playing there, but he would make a heck of a catch.
I think that it's not always the play as much as the situation. And I think at that time it was a timely play because of the situation. They're a comeback ball club. And they came back on us in San Diego when we were ahead 3-0. We were game up on them. They came back on the Cubs a couple of times. So we know what they're capable of doing. And it was important for us to shut them down. And I think that play right there was the last real threat that they had coming back.
NBC Sports welcomes you to Tiger Stadium in Detroit for Game 4 of the World Series. If you've been with us through any of the first 3 games, you've seen our look back at the first World Series played in 1903. Now here's a kaleidoscopic view of some of what's happened since then. All right, I don't know about you, but I blinked and missed the 1940s. Now back to the present. Game 4 of the series. Tigers in front 2-1. An overcast day in Detroit. The lights are on at Tiger Stadium. The temperature is 59 degrees. Detroit goes with Jack Morris, who went the distance in winning Game 1. He's 2-0 in postseason play. Eric Schau pitches for San Diego, regarded as their ace starter, but he was hit hard twice in the playoffs by the Cubs, victimized by the long ball. This is his first World Series start. To see how it became 2-1 in favor of Detroit, let's take a look at the highlights of Game 3. No score, bottom of the second, and San Diego's starting pitching falters again. Chet Lemon aboard with a single, and Tim Lawler is taken deep by Marty Castillo. Castillo had only 4 home runs during the regular season, but like the Padres' Kurt Bavacqua in Game 2, he vaults from the small print and into the headlines with a 2-run homer that gives the Tigers the early lead. Later on, same inning, another run already home. Greg Booker on in relief of Lawler. He walks Larry Herndon with the bases loaded. And now it's 4-0 in favor of Detroit. The Padres have trailed early in every playoff and World Series game this year. We go to the 4th. The Tigers' lead is 5-1. 2 men on for San Diego. Bobby Brown's bouncer is misplayed by Marty Castillo, but he recovers in time to get Kurt Bavacqua, who seems to have an adventure at third base every game. Now it's the 7th. Bill Shearer on in relief of Milt Wilcox. A man aboard as Steve Garvey connects. Larry Herndon tries to backhand it, but can't. It goes as a double, and Tony Gwynn arrives safely at third. He would score from there on a Greg Nettles sacrifice fly to make it 5-2. That brought relief ace Willie Hernandez on. Terry Kennedy connects. Deep center field, about 420 feet away. Chet Lemon makes a terrific catch to save the day for the Tigers.
When he first hit it, I just knew I had to get back because it was hit on the line, and I was playing kind of shallow, and I knew it was important that I break, and I think the key was that I looked up in the right time because you tend to not run far enough or you run too far, and I was very fortunate. I looked up at the right time, and it was just to the left of me.
2 outs now on the top of the 9th, and Hernandez looking to finish it. Garvey again at the plate, lofts one into shallow center. Lemon will come on to put it away and seal the Tiger victory. Afterwards, Castillo talked with me.
That was the most awesome feeling of my whole life. As soon as I hit it, I knew it was a home run, you know, but a lot of things go through your head. I was thinking of my wife, who's due any minute, and I go, well, there's one for the baby. I just hope I didn't put her into labor by doing that.
I checked with Marty a moment ago. No baby yet. Stay with us. Len Berman talks with Padre manager Dick Williams as the pregame show continues.
The World Series pregame show is brought to you by Campbell's. Stir up the Campbell's. Soup is good food. And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade is thirst aid for that deep down body thirst.
Welcome back to Tiger Stadium as we get ready for Game 4 of the World Series. And Dick Williams, no secret that you've had some problems with the starting pitching. Do you contemplate any changes? Are we going to see you with a quick hook today? What will the story be?
Well, we're looking for a good game from Eric Schau. He's had a couple of tough ones in the playoffs, and this will be his first start in the series. He's a very capable pitcher, had 15 wins for us, but I can't hesitate if things go tough. I had 2 pitchers yesterday that came in from the pen, and Greg Harris gave us a real good lift by saving us, keeping Dravecki back, Lefferts back, Hawkins back, and Gossage back in a game that we were down early and couldn't recover. 11 walks and a hits batsman doesn't, and 14 left on base. We were lucky to only lose 5-2.
Dick, I think there are people at home saying, my goodness, those middle relievers are so strong. Why don't you start some of them?
We were saying that last night. No, our starters have been doing a fine job prior to the playoffs. And this is our first test with all the nation watching just these 2 ball clubs and our first appearance in the League Championship Series and the World Series. So I think we're maturing through this, and given enough games to play, our starters will be all right.
Give me a yes-no answer. Will we ever see the Goose this World Series?
Yes, you certainly will. Even if we're getting racked somewhere and it's a final game and it's going to be all over, the Goose will make an appearance.
Thank you, Dick Williams. Now for the Detroit pitching story, let's go back over to Bob Costas.
All right, Len, a good part of the Tiger pitching story during the regular season was the work of left-handed reliever Willie Hernandez. Successful in 32 out of a possible 33 save opportunities. Fittingly, he was on the hill the night they clinched the American League East against Milwaukee. He also closed out the pennant-winning game against Kansas City, and he was the finisher last night with Steve Garvey flying out to Chet Lemon in the 9th inning as the Tigers claimed a 5-2 victory and a 2-1 lead in the World Series. It almost goes without saying that you can't make it to the World Series these days without an outstanding reliever. The Padres have Gossage, and their middle relievers, Lefferts and Hawkins, were stars in their Game 2 victory. We asked one of the best bullpen men in the business, Kansas City's Dan Quisenberry, to give us an historical view of relief pitching.
Early relief pitchers were mostly cleanup guys or potential starters who couldn't crack the club's rotation. Pitching throughout the 20s and early 30s, the Senators' Furpo Marbury is generally regarded as the first true relief specialist. The Yankees' Johnny Murphy was the first relief pitcher to be called a fireman. He led the American League in relief wins 6 times from 1935 through 1943. The 50s saw relief pitching really come into being as we know it, led by the Phillies' Jim Constanti, who won 16 and saved 22 in 1950 as the Whiz Kids took the pennant and Constanti became the first relief pitcher to win the MVP award. In 1952, Brooklyn's Joe Black won 14 and saved 15 as the Dodgers won the National League title. And that was also the year that marked the beginning of Hoyt Wilhelm's Major League career. Hoyt and his knuckler would become the all-time leader in relief appearances with 1,018 games in 21 seasons. In the late 50s and through the 60s, there was Elroy Face and his forkball, and pure heat from the Red Sox' Dick Monster Raddatz. In 1970, Ron Peronowski had 34 saves for the Twins to lead the league. And then came the Iron Man. Mike Marshall never seemed to tire. In 1974, he pitched in 106 games for the Dodgers and became the first relief pitcher to win the Cy Young Award. The second bullpen resident to win the Cy Young was the Yankees' Sparky Lyle, who had 26 saves in 72 appearances as New York won the World Series in 1977. In relief pitching today, I think there are 3 basic styles: power, finesse, and funk. The knuckleball, as perfected by Hoyt Wilhelm, so funky that it almost kept him out of the big leagues because it was so tough to catch. Give Hoyt a PhD. He's Dr. Funk. Today's funksters include Pirates' Kent DeCulvey, the Cardinals' Bruce Sutter, and this other guy who pitches for Kansas City. I think finesse is mixing pitches to different locations. Today's finesse pitchers are Willie Hernandez of the Detroit Tigers and Raleigh Fingers of the Milwaukee Brewers. Then there's the power brokers, a steady diet of fastballs and intimidation. In the early 70s, Chuck Tanner saw the light and moved Terry Forster and Goose Gossage from the White Sox rotation into the bullpen. Today, the heat still comes from the Goose, as well as the Cubs' Lee Smith and Bill Cottle of the Oakland A's. I consider myself a funk pitcher. Hey, I've got to be that way to get major league hitters out. You got to be real funky in the World Series. There's so much extra pressure. Every game's so important. Seems like that bullpen phone over there is ringing all the time for us relievers. There's many ways to handle that extra pressure. Sometimes you need to be a little devious, like Raleigh Fingers was in 1972 against Cincinnati. After discussion with manager Dick Williams, Raleigh Fingers prepares to intentionally walk Johnny Bench. But instead, Raleigh fires a slider for a called third strike. Of course, good or bad, nothing happens to us until we get in the game. Waiting is the toughest thing. Waiting for this phone to ring is what it's all about.
And the quiz has answered that call about as well as anybody in history. 45 saves last year, 44 this time around for Kansas City. Now, if you've been with us throughout the summer on our Game of the Week telecast, you're familiar with the Gatorade Super Slam. It started out with the top 16 home run hitters in each league paired against one another in a kind of home run derby. When we reached the finals today at Tiger Stadium, the likes of Armas, Winfield, Schmidt, and Murphy had all fallen by the wayside. It was Greg Luzinski of the White Sox representing the American League, Jeff Leonard of the Giants as the National League champion. Luzinski won it 4 home runs to 3. You'll see him here picking up the winner's check. He's $50,000 richer. There he is with his batting practice pitcher, the man who served him up, Art Kushner. Now stay with us. Our pregame show will continue from Detroit in just a moment. Back now at Tiger Stadium and awaiting the start of Game 4, just another typical baseball fan, NBC News anchorman Tom Brokaw.
Well, I had to come out here to Detroit just to check out the political action, of course, and thought as long as I was here, I'd be at Tiger Stadium today. I remember, in fact, 4 years ago during the 1980 Republican Convention, and I jogged from my hotel over to Tiger Stadium just to get a look at the park.
You grew up in South Dakota as a fan, oddly enough, of Jackie Robinson and the Brooklyn Dodgers.
Yeah, radio carried all the way to South Dakota in those days, and I affected that pigeon-toed stance, played second base, and there all the similarity ended. He was a baseball player. They described me bad glove, but no hit.
You once made a pilgrimage to that holy spot, Ebbets Field.
I did. The last summer that the Dodgers were in New York, I found my way all the way there, got on a subway in Midtown Manhattan, out to Brooklyn for the game, terrified, but absolutely elated. It's a spiritual experience in many ways.
You and I feel exactly the same way about the game. I have carried this Mickey Mantle baseball card in my wallet since I was 12.
Mickey Mantle, the guy who used to kill us every summer.
Thank you, Tom Brokaw. Enjoy the game.
Thanks, Bob.
Let's go over now to Len Berman.
Thank you, Bob. I carry pictures of Vin and Joe with me. What makes an old ballpark such as Tiger Stadium so appealing are all the angles. The new parks are all symmetrical, not this one. And that creates some very interesting points of view.
You've seen the wave from a distance. Here's the view from down inside a wave as it washes over you. This is what you'd see if you were sitting directly behind the left field foul pole. Now here's the view from dead away center field. I mean dead away. Here's the view from left center, when you have to look to the left to see center. And in some places there's no view of the ball game at all, but you can still hear it pretty well.
It sounds like there's a ball game going on.
Yeah, we usually listen to it on the radio, but they said we had to unplug them tonight because there was a blackout. It was blacking out half the stadium or something like that.
Your little radio at the hot dog stand, huh?
Right, no little radio tonight.
And how's this view up from a famous landing pad?
This is the view from where Reggie hit his famous All-Star Game home run. Except we can't find the ball up here anywhere.
But we did find the ball that Marty Castillo hit for a homer last night after it dropped down from the upper deck.
And here it is.
There it is. That's the game winner for the night, folks.
I'll give you $5 for it.
Never.
I'll give you $5 and an NBC Sports hat.
Never.
Obviously, if he won't accept an NBC Sports hat, the ball must be priceless. Okay, Bob.
All right, thanks very much, Len. It's a big day of sports on NBC. A boxing doubleheader follows the ball game. But right now, priority number one is just where it should be. The World Series. Game time moments away. Vin and Joe will join us in just a few seconds. So long for now.
NBC Sports presents the 1984 World Series. Today, Game 4, the San Diego Padres versus the Detroit Tigers.
Detroit, Michigan is the host city, and Tiger Stadium is the ballpark as we await the start of Game 4 of the 1984 World Series. Hi, everybody. I'm Vin Scully, along with Joe Garagiola. And Joe, for San Diego, without a doubt, their problem is to get over the bad taste of last night's game.
Absolutely. They need one guy to pick them up and just simply carry them and say, hey, this is the way we got here. Here's the way we play, and just show them. Wiggins has come closest, but they really need somebody to pick them up.
And that somebody would be Eric Schau. You have to keep in mind that no Padre pitcher has gone more than 5, with the exception of Ed Whitson, who went 8 innings in Game 3 against the Chicago Cubs. On the other side of the coin, Detroit goes with their ace, Jack Morris.
And they feel if Jack Morris can shut them down today, that they'll close it out tomorrow. But I would like to add that Terry Kennedy, I think, said it best for the Padres. He said, look, we go by the workman's ethic. We do our best, and there's always tomorrow. It wasn't much yesterday, but here we are.
Well, they are, needless to say, running out of tomorrows. And with that thought in mind, let's go for the introduction of our national anthem to public address announcer John Bell.
Ladies and gentlemen, the colors today are being presented by a joint color guard of United States and Canadian Armed Forces. We ask that you rise to honor America now as Detroit's own Robert Taylor, backed by the Detroit Symphony Orchestra under the direction of Kenneth Jean, sings our national anthem.
What a magnificent performance, the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. Bob Taylor singing our anthem, and how about that youngster looking up at the flag in center field that seemed to capture the moment, the optimism of youth. Meanwhile, some rather optimistic Tigers prepare to host Game 4 of the World Series under gray skies, but they're not talking about rain. They are talking about Jack Morris and Eric Shaw. We'll get to the lineups after this.
Baseball fever. Catch it.
The preceding message was furnished by Major League Baseball.
Ladies and gentlemen, we draw your attention to the commissioner's box at the home plate area for today's ceremonial first pitch. Two men prominent in their respective fields are involved today. The baseball is in the hands of Dr. Benjamin Hooks, who for the past 20 years has been pastor of the Mount Moriah Baptist Church here in Detroit. Dr. Hooks is here today in his special role as Executive Director of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And baseball salutes this outstanding organization, which this year is celebrating its 75th anniversary. The other gentleman, our first ball thrower, needs no introduction in Tiger Stadium or elsewhere in the baseball world. He's the great Tiger right fielder, Hall of Famer, and a great citizen, Mr. Al Kaline. Dr. Hooks and Mr. Kaline, the spotlight is yours.
I'm sure they let Al Kaline throw the ball because he'd throw it straight. Dr. Hooks would have to throw a curveball. And let's check the San Diego lineup. Alan Wiggins has spearheaded the attack at second base, followed by Tony Gwynn in right field. Steve Garvey hitting third at first base, and Greg Nettles in the cleanup spot at third. Terry Kennedy going all the way behind the plate, and Kurt Bavacqua the DH. Carmelo Martinez in left field, Gary Templeton at shortstop, and batting ninth, Bobby Brown in center field. On the mound, getting ready to face the Padres, Jack Morris.
And we saw him in that first game, and you see him throwing that real good fastball that he has and a hard slider. He'll get that in, especially to the left-hand hitters, and that split finger fastball, which at times can be awesome. And again, if you were with us in that first game, our great new cameras showed you the rotation, the tumbling effect of the split finger fastball. Doesn't have much of a curveball, very rarely throws it, shows it to you. If he keeps within himself, he's going to be tough.
For Jack Morris coming back on 3 days rest, you might wonder about how well he did this year going on 3 days rest. 10 times he was sent out there working with 3 under his belt, and he won 7 and lost 2. In fact, his greatest game, his no-hitter against the Chicago White Sox, was on 3 days rest.
And might add that he's an outstanding fielder. We saw him make a great bunt play, so he helps himself.
One thing about Jack Morris, and we'll take a look at his delivery in slow motion.
Here it comes, the thing, and there's that rotation. Might just add too, Vin, as we look at Morris, the San Diego club pretty loose on the bench. There's the grip of that split finger. It really isn't like a forkball where you got it way down, and it's just a comfortable split of the fingers, and you use that fastball motion, and that's what's the deceiving thing and the key to that pitch.
What will be very interesting now as Alan Wiggins steps in. If Wiggins gets on base, the Padres need a fire, and of course he is just the man to do it. And the opposition does like to run on Morris. The bunt goes right back to Jack, and he takes care of it. So Wiggins trying to drag, but hit it right back to Morris. Just to finish off the point about the opposition running on Morris, they stole 18 out of 24 against him. 1 of the 6 caught was on a pitch out. And the big thing they tell me is not so much his slow delivery, but he is such an intense pitcher, concentrating on the hitter, that the base runner has a chance. Here's Gwynn. And Tony stole a base against him in game 1.
Got a chance, but keep in mind in that game that he pitched, he's not afraid to double pitch out, which is a rarity. It did not upset him when it didn't happen.
A hopper foul outside of first and down the line. 0-2 to Tony Gwynn. Little roller to the right side to Whitaker. We had 51,970 last night, and we would certainly assume about that number today. And here comes Garvey.
With Jack Morris pitching, Lance Parrish, as we look at the defense, Lance Parrish will give you a pretty good idea what he's throwing by his location. If he's inside, for example, on Garvey, you can look for the fastball. And if he's the outside part of the plate, that's split finger.
And he's a little outside, just a tad. At least he was leaning that way.
That's what he does, and he waits to the last minute. Only way you might be able to help your hitter is if you picked it up from the bench and you had a pre-arranged signal.
Garvey has been struggling in the series. 1-1. He only has 2 hits, a 167 average. And Steve, who is accustomed to great performances under great pressure, has had 1 RBI in his last 60 at-bats in World Series play, which is kind of a shock. Change missed, ball 2, 2-1. 2 down, bases empty, first inning, just the start of the ball game. So pull up a chair and spend Saturday with us. Chopper over the mound, Whitaker backhands at the bag, gets him. So a very easy first inning for Jack Morris. 3 infield plays, and at the end of half an inning, Padres nothing, Tigers coming up. Here's the way the Tigers stack up, with Lou Whitaker at second base and Alan Trammell at shortstop, Kirk Gibson in right field, and Lance Parrish in the cleanup spot behind the plate. Darrell Evans at third base. The designated hitter is Johnny Grubb. The left fielder is Rupert Jones. Chet Lemon is in center, and another left-hand hitter, Dave Bergman, at first base. And to face that formidable challenge, Eric Schau. And the one thing you can say for Schau, it has not been a tough act to follow.
That it hasn't, and when he's got his good stuff, you'll see a lot of ground ball outs. He has a fastball. He's got a change, a slider, and a slow curve. His location has been bad, causing him trouble. He has to pitch down. Terry Kennedy says he can tell whether he's going to have a good day on just 2 pitches. If he gets his fastball up and his slider on the outside part of the plate, it's going to be a long afternoon.
Let me ask you something. We're so close to home plate. Why didn't you ask Kennedy to give us a sign? He could have said, hey, we got it.
We got it.
Lou Whitaker, Alan Trammell, and Kirk Gibson. Whitaker checks in and tries to be the spearhead. He led off the first 2 games with base hit. To show you the problem with San Diego starters, their earned run average in 8 postseason games is 8. That's a strike.
Now that was a good sign because it was the fastball and he had it down in a good spot, low and outside. That's where he has to pitch. He has to pitch down.
Xiao is extremely intelligent, also extremely sensitive. And there's a ground ball to Wiggins. Off balance throw, pulls Garvey off the bag.
Wiggins had a difficult play because he was running away from the bag he had to throw to. Now you'll see it all the way. It's called an error. Now you see Wiggins come in. He tries to make the play on the move and just can't make it.
So Whitaker aboard on a break and Alan Trammell a batter. To conclude the thought on Xiao's personality, there are those close to the San Diego scene that say his intelligence and sensitivity make it extremely difficult for him to pitch in a World Series game.
Anybody would take 90 pounds of books to spring training, and that's what he did. You know, Wiggins tried to get a starter for San Diego with Whitaker on in the count of 1 ball. They could put a play on and take it right to San Diego.
So here's Trammell now with Whitaker aboard. 2-0. Xiao, among other things, is a marvelous guitar player. In fact, I've heard him play Take Me Out to the Ball Game in jazz, and you can't realize how talented he is until you hear him do it. Might be looking for a hit-and-run play because Whitaker is a little bit more than a break-even base stealer, that's all.
Last thing that Kennedy does is the location. They're looking for a fastball to the outside part of the plate.
2-0. Oh, I got to tell you, last night's hero was Marty Castillo.
Yep.
He was a little late coming into the Tiger clubhouse. Roger Craig said he must have been on Good Morning Tijuana. 2-0 to Alan Trammell.
A lot of fans listening there.
High drive into deep left field. Back goes Martinez, away back. It's gone.
And no strikes, and that's a hitter's delight. 2 balls, no strikes, 3 balls and 1 strike, and carried even to 2 balls and 1 strike. That's when they like to hit. They can pick their pitch. Trammell did, and it's a quick 2-0 lead.
Here is Kirk Gibson. Ball 1. The kid from San Diego, Alan Trammell, is 7 for 13 with 4 RBIs in the World Series. And again, the Tigers take a bite out of you in the first inning. A drive to center. Brown going back. That's the first out.
And he got the ball up to Trammell. He got the ball up to Gibson, and Kennedy's trying to get him to keep it down. Williams will have to make a quick move today because he's running out of time.
5 of the 6 postseason games, the Tigers scored in the first inning. The time they missed, they scored in the second inning.
They come to work early, don't
Whoa, and hungry. And here's Lance Parrish. And for Detroit, over that stretch, they have led in every game. The Padres, in their postseason play, have been behind by the 5th inning in every game. Breaking ball hit to third, backing up Nettles. That makes the throw tough, but he has the luxury of Lance Parrish going down the line, so he could afford to back up.
Vin, to just kind of put a caption on what you said, it gave me a thought that if he was tight, the home run could have loosened him up. Jim Cott, who was a pitcher for many, many years, he always said that a home run will break up the rally. It stops the momentum, and there is some truth to it.
It's nice to put the number on the board, though,
I
too,
love
isn't
it. To me, I don't believe it. There is some truth, but I just soon stop the momentum.
Yeah. Here's Darrell Evans. They have been very careful with D. He's walked 3 times. Of course, he had 16 home runs during the regular year. 2-0 in favor of Detroit in the first inning. Fastball missing. So in case you just tuned in, Whitaker chopped one up the middle. Tough play for Wiggins. He pulled Garvey off the bag. He was charged with an error. And Alan Trammell hit a 2-0 pitch in the seats. Now we have 2 out. Good sinker. Now you talk about him having to get down and stay down. That was the kind of pitch that got him to the big leagues.
When he gets the ball up, it straightens out. It's no longer a fastball, it's a straight ball. And that's where, as they say, offensive history is made.
Quote Dan Quisenberry, unquote. And a breaking ball. A little mean, but a little low. So he's fallen behind 3-1. High, and I mean high, up on that gray wool. Let's see if it comes back. It's coming back to Kennedy.
Marvelous play by Kennedy. He had that thing. That was a tough, tough play.
2 runs, 1 hit, 1 error. And at the end of an inning, the Tiger has roared again. 2-0.
Here's the pitch. He swings. There's a drive to left. It's deep. It is way back, and it is gone. A 2-run homer by Trammell. A 2-0 lead for the Tigers in the first inning.
This bird's eye view of Alan Trammell's home run that gave the Tigers the 2-0 lead might have brought a question to you as you watch it sail towards the left field upper deck. How many balls have been hit out of Tiger Stadium all told? 19 is the answer, but only 2 balls have ever been hit over the left field roof. And they were hit by 2 fellas you might expect to do it. Harmon Killebrew and Frank Howard. From past to present, Greg Nettles, Terry Kennedy, Kurt Bavacqua. 4-1. Nettles hitting .400 in the series. Ground ball to the right side to Whitaker on the grass. That's his 3rd assist and 3 in a row. So Morris has that play down. The Padres playing Pepper with Whitaker, and the batter is Terry Kennedy. Kennedy is 3 for 11 with a couple of RBIs. That translates to a .273 average in the series. And it was Terry who unloaded last night. And we saw that great catch by Chet Lemon. A drive to center. Lemon was shallow. It's over his head, and it's behind him, and he caught it anyway. Jack stands in Sparky Anderson history book. He's all alone. Tell you why. 0-1 to count to Kennedy. A drive to right field, and Gibson just turns and watches it go upstairs. So Kennedy and the Padres, as they have done throughout the series, they come back. Morris had allowed 20 home runs this year, and 14 of them here at Tiger Stadium. And it is 2-1 Detroit.
It looked like a low breaking ball that Kennedy was able to hit in the upper deck. And look at that bench. They need somebody to pick him up.
So Kennedy, who had a key double and 2 RBIs in San Diego, hits one upstairs to wake up his teammates. Take another look.
Here's a look at it. He gets it. Good follow through.
The batter now is Kurt Bavacqua, ball one. Jack Morris, when he pitched a complete game in Game 1 of the World Series, that's the only complete game turned in by a pitcher managed by Sparky Anderson in 26 World Series games. 2-0.
Bavacqua was one of these hitters who he'll look for his pitch. He'll sit on a particular pitch, and if he gets it, he'll show you a pretty good swing.
You know, it's an interesting thing with Bavacqua being the DH. Here's a 2-0 pitch. Strike. At the start of the series, we pointed out that in the previous 4 times in the World Series, the DH was used in the even years, 76, 8, 80, and 82. The team that had the highest DH batting average won the series. Ground ball down the left field line. We'll conclude the thought as Bavacqua concludes his at-bat with a double, and he's the tying run. Bavacqua is now 6 for 12 as the designated hitter. The Tigers DH 1 for 11.
They were playing him wide, not expecting him to pull that ball. He got a breaking ball, and he pulled it between the third baseman Castillo and the bag, or Evans rather, and the bag, and it's a 2-base hit. Darrell doesn't have much of a chance to get it. Martinez, the hitter, Deacon Jones spent a lot of time with him. They want him to get a little closer to the plate and just play hard pepper with the pitcher is the instructions that he got. Just try to hit the ball back through the middle.
Well, he'd be hitting against the best defensive pitcher on the Tigers staff if he does. So let's see. And he bunts in the air, foul out of play on the count 0-1. Busted bat and a foul ball.
That may be the most aggressive swing that the youngsters had. I mean, to get jammed like that and break it and how far it went, he finally went after it. And last night, if you remember, he's kind of feeling for the ball, which is the thing that Deacon Jones has been trying to get across to him. Swing that bat. Take a good cut. He went around on it, and they've been jamming him inside, and he's been just kind of feeling it.
Well, he got a new piece of wood. Anything will help him. He's been struggling. 1 for 11, and he has struck out 6 times in the World Series. There it is for all the world to see. So he's hungry. 0-2 to Carmelo. To show you how tough things have been for Martinez, he's had only 1 hit to go to the outfield, and that was in the 2nd game of the League Championship Series.
He used that fastball inside, and they've been just throwing a slow curve or an off-speed pitch to the outside part.
1-2. High drive, hooking down the left field line and going foul. He hit it hard enough and deep enough, but he hooked it.
The difference in this youngster today is he is, at least at this time at bat, aggressive. He's not feeling for the ball, saying, I hope I hit it, I hope I don't strike out. And there is a difference.
Yeah, once you get to be a reputation of a defensive hitter, you can see how a struggle it is. And look what the Padres have been doing. They've really been defensive and non-productive. 1-2. Fastball fouled away. And as you said, he had a good hack at that.
Well, he's hacking now. That's a good one to use. Before that, he was just almost a polite, I hope I don't hurt the ball. You don't want to kill the ball, as George Foster says. You do want to bruise it.
Breaking ball got him on the inside corner. I'll say one thing, that was a mean deuce.
That was nasty. And for one thing, he started it right at Martinez. They usually been starting it at the middle of the plate, but he starts it right at him. Here's the way it looked to Martinez. You can see it right at him. It caught the inside corner is what it did, but it almost, as I say, gives you the feeling it's going to hit you, and then it breaks over for the strike. He gave up on it, and it was nasty.
Gary Templeton with 2 out. Ground ball to guess who? That's 4 assists in 2 innings for Whitaker. They leave Bavacqua. At the end of an inning and a half, the Tigers 2, the Padres 1, as Terry Kennedy goes back to work. Two to 1 in favor of Detroit, and Johnny Grubb, Rupert Jones, and Chet Lemon. Grubb, an all-star for the Padres 10 years ago. Talk about former Padres in Tiger uniforms. One of the interesting sidebars to the World Series is Sid Manji. That's a strike. Sid Manji can get checks from both teams. He started the year with San Diego. He finished up with Detroit, was not eligible for the World Series. Sid pitches batting practice, so he could get 2 checks. Ground ball smothered by Garvey, and he goes to the bag. Fine play by Steve to take an extra base hit away from Johnny Grubb.
Speaking of checks, Luzinski in that home run hitting contest, he got about what, maybe
50.
I was going to say maybe the winner's share, but I think the winner's share will be bigger than that.
I think they were estimating 60. Oh, an easy play as far as Garvey's talent is concerned.
He smothers it in good shape.
What's the modern ball player's expression? He can pick it. Pick it. Well, he just picked one. So Steve Garvey comes up with a good play to help Shaw. And now the batter, Rupert Jones, another ex-Padre. Foul ball. In fact, Rupert was in the opening day lineup a year ago. We were talking earlier about the 19 home runs hit out of Tiger Stadium. Rupert hit one out this year. It's quite a, well, it's 94 feet to the roof in right field. Breaking ball missed. Now that roof is 94 feet. The top of the light tower is 155 feet, and that's where Reggie hit one. The ground of the upper deck is just 34 feet. Slow curve on the corner. 1 and 2.
He is spotting the ball well.
Hard breaking ball. Swing, says Harvey. So Rupert Jones goes back to the bench on a check swing, 3rd strike. And the batter is Chet Lemon.
The key word is intent. Oh, yes. Good call. I'd have to go along with Harvey.
Well, here is certainly one of the heroes in last night's victory with his remarkable catch of the ball hit by Terry Kennedy. And he fouls it away. Let's take a look at that catch. It went like this.
He was really playing shallow, broke to his right, realized he broke wrong, and he made a great catch.
He made an interesting comment, one to really file away. Remember how you were talking about feeling for the ball? The reason he was playing shallow on Kennedy was Terry had 2 strikes on him. And Lemon said, according to our scouting report and watching him in the series, when Kennedy gets 2 strikes on him, he becomes an ultra defensive hitter. And I figured he would have a short stroke playing for a base hit. That's why I played him so shallow.
Almost got burned.
0 and 2. Fouled away, or first out of play. They're going to look at first, but no swing. Runge flashing palms down.
That's the way he has to pitch. With 2 strikes, the previous pitch, he got the ball up, and you could see Kennedy constantly riding on Shaw to keep the ball down. That breaking ball, curve ball, get it down, get it in the dirt. You have to show him the pitch, if nothing else.
Shaw has now worked an inning and 2/3. There's a reason for bringing that up. By working an inning and 2/3, you take all of the San Diego starting pitchers in the World Series, put their work together, and they have now turned in a total of 9 innings. There you see Ed Whitson, and he's still thinking about his early chase. Got him high fastball, and Lemon went after it. 2 strikeouts for Shaw, and at the end of 2, it's 2-1 in favor of Detroit. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. We're moving to the 3rd inning with the Tigers leading the Padres 2-1. Bobby Brown, Alan Wiggins, and Tony Gwynn. And boy, there's got to be a lot of weight on Bobby Brown's shoulders. He is 0 for 14 in postseason play, 0 for 10 in the World Series. Takes a strike. Every time he comes up, there's a couple of men on base, except now. He's had 12 runners on base, and he has failed to advance 11 of the 12. The only time he advanced somebody, he hit into a force play and picked up an RBI. But what we're really doing is not pointing out Bobby Brown's inadequacies. We are pointing out the tremendous void because of the injury to Kevin McReynolds. Pretty hard to have a fella sit around on a bench all year and suddenly say, okay, now you play every inning of every game. Well, there's Kevin.
They ask you to fill shoes, but nobody tells you what you're going to fill them with. I went through that with Walker Cooper when they traded him to the Giants.
Ground ball backing up is Bergman. That means Morris has to make the play. So one away, and Alan Wiggins coming up.
Just to carry it a step farther, they compare you to the guy, and you can only do what you can do. And,
right.
and Bobby Brown's best days, he's not going to beat Kevin McReynolds. And I know they'd say to me, well, Walker Cooper did this. I said, hey, I can't do what Walker Cooper did.
Here's a kid who can do well, particularly as those numbers showed you, right-handed, but he's going the other way against Mars. And Darrell Evans is not in the way Marty Castillo was playing in strike. Evans laying back. You remember Wiggins burned them with a double inside third leading off last night. And suddenly Sparky has changed his defensive alignment ever so slightly. Good pitch, 0-2. The outfield is around the left and very shallow, as you can see.
They like to pitch to him much like they pitch to Mickey Rivers. Play towards left, shallow, fastball over, just overpower him.
0-2. 4-1. In the 76 series, that's when Anderson choked off Mickey Rivers by having a third baseman staring down his throat. They've tried it with Wiggins, but this time Evans stays on the dirt. 1-2. Popped in the air, foul. Darrell Evans across the line near the top roller. He's got it.
You can see that these Tigers, they don't give up on a ball hit near the stands. They figure it's coming back. There's that split finger, the thing. Split finger fastball. It's got the fastball motion, but because you split the fingers, it comes tumbling at you.
So 2 down here in the third inning, 2-1 Detroit. Tony Gwynn trying to time one, and he's successful. Boy, did Gwynn wait on that pitch. He started his swing, held it up, and still drove it into right field. And the batter will be Steve Garvey.
We talked about his light bat. If there's such a thing as good bat control, you saw it right there. He just started his body, but the bat was back, and he was able to still pull that ball.
Garvey has 2 hits in the series, a double and an RBI. And, of course, his durability and his consistency are 2 of his many strengths. Ground ball hit down to Trammell. He goes to Whitaker. That's it. For Roger Craig, who lives near San Diego, when the Tigers were there, he fell off his horse. But the Tigers are still in the saddle, leading the Padres 2-1. There's nothing particularly unusual looking at the press box, nor is there anything big deal about me waving my hand. The big deal is where we are here in relationship to down there, where home plate is. I always thought the closest booth was Old Ebbets Field. When they talk about being in the game, this is the place to be. But you better hang loose.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I tell you, for me, I can't watch a game unless the ball is coming towards me. You know, the catcher's the only guy that the ball is coming towards you. Everybody else, the ball, going out.
I don't mind it coming towards the catcher. It bothers me when it's coming towards us.
You don't trust my hands?
Not when I tried to shake hands with you and it felt like I put my hands in a bag full of peanuts. No, no.
They're not that bad.
No, they're not. They're hands of a pianist.
Well, I do love that story, though, when they talked about Joe Sugden and Gabby Street shaking hands and taking a plumber 10 minutes to get them apart.
Well, here's Dave Bergman to start it off. Lou Whitaker and Arnold Trammell to follow. Ball 1. Bergman hasn't had much of a chance to swing the bat. He's used mainly as a defensive replacement. He's 0 for 2. Ground ball down. Oh, nice hop for Alan Wiggins. Friends, this telecast, presented by authority of Major League Baseball, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. It's 2-1 Tigers. We're in the third inning with 1 out. Whitaker hit a ball up the middle. Wiggins backhanded at the bag. His off-balance throw pulled Garvey off. They gave Wiggins an error, and then Trammell homered.
Home run by Trammell, a line drive by Gibson. Everything else, ground balls at the foul ball, yes, but ground balls are strikeouts.
Breaking ball, line to right, base hit. And Gwynn slips, and Whitaker on his way to second. He will make it. One and one, base hit and an error.
Gwynn slips and it loses a double play as Whitaker goes into second base.
It doesn't appear wet, but there's proof that it is. And by the time Tony recovers, Whitaker is into second base. So that is the second San Diego error. And the batter Trammell, and of course Allen hit one out. Wiggins bird dogging at second to cut down Whitaker's lead. There's a strike. 0-1. Remember, before Trammell homered, Shaw had fallen behind 2-0, and you just know he was saying to himself, I got to get ahead of him this time. Allen's having a big series. 7 for 13, a home run, 4 RBIs. Short hop by Kennedy.
They got to try to cut Whitaker's lead at second base to help the outfielders, because any ball that gets there, they're taking off. They're running.
The Padres do not have a good throwing outfield, do they?
No, they don't.
Breaking ball hit to deep left field. Back goes Martinez. Goodbye. Take a curtain call. Here he comes. Boy, has the little San Diego Padre fan grown up. Up the middle, base hit. What's that line? Ask not for whom the bell tolls, it tolls for thee. Here's Lance Parrish. A bad pitch out. Boy, he's rattled.
Well, he was having his head down after the second home run. You can certainly appreciate his feelings, but he's got to worry about this hitter because Gibson can run at any time.
1-1. I don't know whether if it's a case of locking the barn door or not. Dave Dravecky gets up now, but it is 4-1 Tigers. Gibson at first, and of course the one thing that Dick Williams cannot defense against has happened. 2 home runs, each with a man aboard, and both by Trammell. Dick Williams read in the paper that Sparky Anderson, psyching his team, said we're going back to San Diego. And Dick Williams said, I know we're going back. I don't know if the Tigers are going with us. Look at him digging that left foot as if he's going to push off. And there he goes. And it's fisted in the air to Garvey. And they call Gibson back to the bag. You were talking about that unnatural move. Gibson looked like a cat trying to bury something down there with his left foot, and he was digging in as if he had starting blocks. Look at this.
But the straight-up shot, there's a little movement in his hips.
Yeah.
I'm going to say something I wouldn't ordinarily say, that he tips off when he's running. You can watch him. There's a little move in his hips.
Well, he did everything but dig a hole with a shovel.
Well, he plants that pretty regularly.
Oh. All right, we got 2 down. Gibson at first, and the batter is Darrell Evans. And now with 2 out, we'll see if he moves with a left-hand hitter, and Kennedy calls pitch out just to take a look.
Now watch Gibson yourself, Ben. Now he'll plant his foot, the left foot, he'll plant it. He's planted. Now he's throwing over there.
When he was going the last time, he not only planted, but he scraped maybe 4 or 5 times. That left foot was really in a starting block, but not now. Strike, 2-1.
Okay, 2 outs. This is the pitcher's delight. A likely pitch to run. I'm not saying he is, but we can watch Gibson. Stay with me.
We're all going to watch his
All
pitch.
right, let's see. And let's guess.
All right, you tell me.
All right. Stay going.
No.
He broke. He broke. He broke. I guarantee he was gone. He broke. Watch it. Give me a replay if we got it. Watch him break. Watch him break. See the move? Yeah, what was that? He wasn't taking the lead.
All right.
Oh,
3-1, he's going to go.
That's dirty pool.
There he goes. The throw down to Templeton, he's in there.
He wanted to go. You can bet me.
Take another look.
Right there, right there. All right. Okay, now. They
Oh.
did the same thing on the pitch before. Exactly the same thing.
Absolutely right.
Now you tell me. You sound like my 7th grade nun. School's out. She wants to pass me in July.
All right, Gibson steals second. What do I know about guys' hips? Ball for to Evans. And Dick Williams is not worrying about hips. That's all for Eric Schau. And Dave Dravecky will be coming in. Dave Dravecky picking up the pieces for Eric Schau. Runners at first and second with 2 down. And he'll be pitching to Barbaro Garbe, who is batting for the DH, Johnny Grubb.
Not afraid to come inside to the right-hand hitters. If he's got his good stuff, you'll see some broken bats.
Busted bat. There you have it, Joe. Ground ball at third, force play at second, and that's it. What do you call that one? That's busted bat number 1. However,
hips and busted bats, I'm an expert.
Me too. And at the end of 3, 4-1 Detroit.
Schau ready, kicks and deals. Here's a swing, and there's another drive to left. It's deep, and this one is gone. The second home run by Trammell. And the Tigers now lead it 4-1. Whitaker scores. Here comes Trammell running home his 2nd consecutive home run.
Alan Trammell is the 26th player to hit 2 home runs in a World Series game. And look at the illustrious names who have hit 3. Twice Babe Ruth, the other Reggie Jackson, all with the Yankees. And of course, it's early. Trammell has a couple of at-bats left.
How do you think his hero, Ed Spezio, is feeling right now?
Must be thrilled.
Gotta be.
Last year, Eddie Murray hit 2 home runs in a game. Greg Nettles, Terry Kennedy, Kurt Bavacqua. And boy, what a mountain to climb now. Jack Morris sitting atop the peak, leading 4-1. By the way, and they have certainly not asked me to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. We've had some marvelous pictures today. Great camera work. And I really want to salute the cameraman, especially for this reason. 1-1. You know, it was a late game last night, a huge crowd in Detroit. Most of the fellas left the ballpark at 2 a.m. and had to leave the hotel at 5 a.m. to get back here for today's game. And they're doing a great job. 2-1. You see that?
They're not
You
tired.
don't think he's fighting it? Love to sneak 40 winks, and I don't blame him.
Shouldn't do it during the game, though.
High pop fly. It will be Whitaker.
Here's the pitch that Nettles saw. The thing.
Here's Terry Kennedy. Ball one. Kennedy hit one upstairs in the second inning for a home run. It appeared to be just what the doctor ordered, but then Trammell came right back and wrote out his own prescription, and it's 4-1 Detroit. High fly ball into shallow left, and Rupert is there. So Morris with 2 out in the 4th inning, pitching to Kurt Bavacqua. 3-2 to Bavacqua. Fouled, and coming over for it is Bergman. That's it for San Diego. It's 4-1 Tigers at the end of 3.5 innings. Let's take another great moment in World Series history.
During the 1920s, Babe Ruth twice hit 3 home runs in a single series game. Then in 1977, Reggie Jackson took his place alongside the Bambino. His 3 blasts in Game 6 against the Dodgers helped the Yankees to an 8-4 series clinching win as Mr. October lit up the Yankee Stadium sky.
Bottom of the 4th inning. And Larry Herndon hitting for Rupert Jones. He's 3 for 9 in the series. And he has hit well over 300 against left-hand pitching. 4-1 Detroit on 2 home runs, each with a man aboard by Alan Trammell. Fouled right into Kennedy's mask. Oh, did he take a lick then? 0-2 to Larry Herndon. Down he goes.
Trevecchi's very deceptive. He usually spots the ball well. He keeps coming inside. If he doesn't rush, he's going to be a tough pitcher, and he's a determined young man. Youngstown, Ohio. George Schuber's hometown. You remember Shotgun?
Oh, yeah. Well, Trevecchi is a hard nose, and he's got a chance to really be a good one. It's tough for him to be in there now with the ball club down 4-1. His job, like Greg Harris last night, is to hold that Tiger. Chet Lemon struck out in the 2nd inning. Fisted foul, out of play. 0-1. You know, with Eric Shao being chased so early, and that has been the pattern for all the San Diego pitchers, you might wonder if there's ever been a World Series like this. In 1947, the Brooklyn Dodgers against the New York Yankees, the longest stint by any starter was 4 2/3 innings by Rex Barney. And believe it or not, the Dodgers carried the Yankees 7 games. That was the series that featured Bill Bevins, close no-hitter, Cookie Lavagetto breaking it up. And Kennedy got that on the right arm.
And before the game, he had so much hot stuff on him that Templeton even said, "Who's got that stuff on?" It's some kind of balm that they put. And Kennedy said, "I have." And they even moved because the odor coming from it, and it was so hot, and it was his shoulder and his elbow they were working on. In fact, Terry said it took the trainer 45 minutes to get my arm ready.
Well, that hit him somewhere just around the shoulder and bicep where they meet. 3-2. Take another look at the trials and tribulations of Terry Kennedy.
There you see him grab it right about at the shoulder. Nothing you can do. You can't practice ducking him.
3-2. And he walked. So Dave Trevecchi walks Chet Lemon, and that'll bring up Dave Bergman. Bergman in the game along with Darrell Evans, and since they're leading by 3, there's no reason to take him out. Boy, he's a slick bill with that glove. Lemon takes a good lead, but Drevecki's staring at him, and he goes anyway. The curve is chased. The throw is offline. Boy, he dared him to come over there, and Drevecki just looked at him and still went to the plate. I can't believe that.
He had him read perfectly. He knew something about Drevecki's move that said he's not going to throw over here. Terry was off balance when he threw it. He kind of threw a sailor, and going in head first, there was no chance to make the tag. He was not in good position to throw because the ball was way outside.
1 ball and no strikes to Dave Bergman. 1-1. And Lemons to third. And Kennedy to Nettles. They got him. So Bergman strikes out. Lemon is doubled up, and the bottom of the 4th is history. No runs, no hits, nobody left as Lemon is nailed at third. It remains 4-1 Detroit, and we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Gotcha.
Hi, I'm Bob Uecker, sitting in the front row to host this week's Saturday Night Live.
Bob, the seat's up there.
Comedians, I love them. Come on. You know, one of the best things about being an ex-big leaguer is getting freebies to the game. Call the front office, bingo. And once these fans recognize me, I probably won't even have to pay for my light beer from Miller. Down it, rock! I love them. These fans know I drink light because it's less filling and it tastes great. Good seats, huh?
You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on.
Oh, I must be in the front row.
Come on.
Light beer from Miller. Everything you always wanted in a beer, and less.
Good seats, hey, buddy? He missed the tag! He missed the tag!
Today's game is brought to you by Midas. For mufflers, brakes, and shocks, trust the Midas touch. And by Atra from Gillette, the essence of shaving.
The Grand Dame, the Dowager Queen. Tiger Stadium in Detroit. They've been playing on this site since 1900. She's changed her names a few times, Navin and Bennett and Briggs, and now Tiger Stadium. Carmelo Martinez, Gary Templeton, and Bobby Brown. And, of course, Martinez, who was so much more aggressive in the 2nd inning, still wound up with the same result. He struck out. Fouled away.
Lemon from second base running on his own. Now watch him look at home plate to see what's happening. He knows he's out by a long shot. Looks like he may have changed his mind, but he tried to sneak in by missing the tag, and Nettles gets him.
Very close.
Very close going in that way. I don't like to see him going in standing up, but he made it close.
1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, we saw that great body control going after that ball Kennedy hit last night. He probably could have been a good halfback.
And you wonder how much of a factor the foul tip off Kennedy's shoulder with the advance news is in these Tigers running, although they were going to run from the beginning.
Ground ball to third. Darrell Evans to Dave Bergman.
So far, Jack Morris's top speed on his fastball has been 89 miles per hour. You know who he reminds me of as a pitcher, American leaguer, not in facial expressions or delivery, but in his intensity? Vic Raschi. Yogi used to always talk about when he'd walk out to go out there, Raschi would say, "Get back there, I know about pitching." Templeton, by the way, 9 of 13 hit the first pitch.
Strike, 0-1.
It just shows you that somebody may have said something to him too. Guy been keeping tabs on him, and even talked to him about it before the game.
Fouled away. You know, you talk about competitors without mentioning any names. A manager told me once about a pitcher whose name was Jack, and he would go out to the mound to talk to him, and he'd have to say, "Jack, Jack, it's me," to break the concentration. Almost have to introduce himself to the pitcher to get his attention. That's how much of an intense competitor he was.
That's why many times you can't have complicated signs. They turn into zombies.
1-2. Down goes Templeton.
He's throwing much harder now. He's in the 90s, I guarantee you.
He looks like he's on a roll. He's retired 6 in a row.
Templeton had a good cut at it, just didn't get it.
Jack Morris had 10 strikeouts as a high this year. He had 8 in his no-hitter, and he had 9 in the first game of the series. He has 2 today, and Bobby Brown pops it up. Well, Trammell is going to be coming up second in the bottom of the 5th inning, and he's already hit 2 out. We'll find out about him in the rest of the game. It's 4-1 Detroit. The World Series is always a tale of 2 cities. This game is a tale of 2 men. On the left, a dejected, a downcast, a somewhat depressed Eric Show. And on deck, Alan Trammell as Whitaker is aboard for the 3rd time, and he's going for 2. And each time Whitaker has reached on an error, Trammell has hit a home run. Strike. Whitaker was aboard on an error in the 1st inning, and Trammell homered. Whitaker singled and took second on an error in the 3rd inning, and Trammell homered. And Whitaker has now doubled to open up the 5th. Line into left for only a single. And here comes Whitaker, and then he holds up, and Martinez throws it in. A very cautious Gramis, and Whitaker, with nobody out in the inning, deciding not to draw a throw from Martinez.
Ball is up, and you can see Martinez charging, and you can watch Whitaker. He's looking himself. Gramis has got him coming around, and Whitaker heads back, and with 1st and 3rd, nobody out, they got something going. If Whitaker gets thrown out at the plate, maybe slips or falls or whatever, you got your rally stopped. Now it's going.
So you have the left-hand hitting Gravecki countering against Kirk Gibson, and then Parrish and another left-hand hitter, Evans. 1st and 3rd, Nettles is up. Templeton and Wiggins back. Garvey holding the bag on Trammell. 1-0. No one throwing in the Padre bullpen. There's Whitaker at 3rd and Trammell at 1st.
The inning record, of course, is a double play, and this guy's tough to double up. He's got to hit the ball hard and right at somebody to get to with him hitting.
1-0. Foul back.
Well, would he like to have that pitch back? You saw our vantage point. You could hear him say, "Ho!" Look at him. Read his lips, man.
Well, he's got a gamer on, too, with that beard.
I asked him, when's the last time you shaved? He said, if I didn't have to shave, I'd never shave.
You know, I saw a ball player who shaved with a stick. He shaved with a tongue depressor.
Shaved what with the tongue?
A beard. A beard. You believe me?
No.
Oh, now, come on. After all these years, you don't believe me?
How do you do it?
I'll tell you. 1-1 to Gibson. 2-1. He put on a depilatory and then took the tongue depressor and scraped it off, and the beard came off with it.
Well, if you use a depilatory, anybody knows that.
Oh, depilatory.
Oh, whatever it is.
2-1 to Gibson. And, of course, the Tigers now trying to maul San Diego and tear it wide open here. Fouled away. 2-2. Garvey holding. He doesn't go. And down goes Gibson. And I guess the thinking was he's so tough to double up because of his speed. Why gamble? Boy, he's hot.
But you got to figure the way they've been running, thinking of Kennedy throwing back there, that you'd stay away from it. But, hey, all kinds of little wars going on.
So a thoroughly frustrated and angry Kirk Gibson goes snarling back into the dugout.
Won't make him feel any better, but our gun clocked it at 97.
Whoa. 97?
That's what they tell me.
Here's Lance Parrish, 0 for 2. Ball 1.
Don't forget that tree they got at 80.
Yeah, that sounds so high.
For him.
Oh. I mean, you're talking Nolan Ryan. Dwight Gooden. Busted bat and a one-hopper, and they can go to the plate. And Kennedy tags out a sliding Whitaker, who got it up around the jaw.
And I'll tell you, Nettles really had to make a good play because that bat was coming right at him. It was right in line. Watch this now. Watch the bat. Look at the ball coming in the bat. He doesn't know what to do. He's ducking both. You don't think that's distracting? And Whitaker looking back to see what's happening, and he's an easy out.
You talk about a tag in the chops. He got it on the right side at the jaw. And with 2 down, the batter, Darrell Evans. Watch this.
No contest.
Ooh.
Well, those little guys have no chance. You tag him everywhere.
Yeah, but remember, he flipped him.
Yeah, but that's because he was reaching for
Yeah.
the ball. He had the ball this time, saying, here I am. Flip me this time.
Kennedy's 220, Whitaker's 160. No contest. 0-1 to count Evans. Fouled away. Boy, Evans didn't get cheated at all. Got him. So he struck out 4. He's a dandy, that kid. You're going to hear a lot, I think, from him. Dave Gravecki. You also hear from Gibson, and you've heard from the Tigers. 4-1 Detroit at the end of 5. Sailing through the soup as we go to the 6th inning. Alan Wiggins, Tony Gwynn, and Steve Garvey. Wiggins tried to bunt, hit it right back to Morris, and fouled out in the 3rd. Allen 0 for 2. 4-1. In there. 2-1.
What Wiggins would like to do, Deacon Jones working with him, stay on top of that ball, much like Matty Alou. Hit that ball down with his great speed. 2 hops in the infield. He's got a base hit.
See if he can do it. Well, he hit it on the ground wide to Bergman, who makes a full turn and throws to Morris. And boy, he had to make a perfect play, and he did it.
That spring training paying off once again. The basic play. Bergman makes a good play. You see it. Once he gets it, finds his man. Morris is there, and he makes the left turn to get out of the way of the runner. No collision that way.
You watch him do that day after day after day in spring training, and suddenly the payoff time is in the fall. Here's Gwynn, grounded out and singled, 1 for 2. Little ground ball to Lou Whitaker, and that's going to be 9 in a row, retired by Jack Morris. So he is very much on his game now.
And he is no different in his personality than when he was talking to himself and upset. I mean, sometimes it's like everything else, depends on the scoreboard and what you're doing.
When he was upset, he appeared annoyed at himself falling behind 3-1 twice. And each time he turned it around and got the hitter. Here's Garvey, grounded out, hit into a force play. Popped up. And the top of the 6th inning is history. And Morris has retired 10 in a row at the end of 5 1/2. The Tigers 4 and the Padres 1. Bottom of the 6th inning. It is 4-1 Detroit. He certainly is.
What a great sign, Morris the cat.
And there he is, the real article. Barbaro Garbe, Larry Herndon, and Chet Lemon against Dave Gravecki in the bottom of the 6th. Still 4-1 Detroit. Fly ball to right field, playable, and Gwynn is there. 1 away. Larry Herndon will be coming up. Jones batted in the 2nd inning and struck out. Larry Herndon batted for Jones in the 4th inning and struck out. Hit into right center field for a base hit. Gwynn over to cut it off. Comes up with it, and Herndon holding. So Chet Lemon, who has struck out and walked, coming up, and Dick Williams kind of shuffling his cards, trying to find a combination. Lemon struck out, walked, stole 2nd, and was nailed trying to steal 3rd. Breaking ball, a 1-hopper to Templeton, to Wiggins for 1, to Garvey for 2, and that nails down the 6th. No run, 1 hit, and nobody left. And at the end of 6, Tigers 4, Padres 1. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Don't miss the best in professional bowling and Earl Anthony's 7 Steps to Better Bowling. It's the premiere of the PBA Fall Tour, Saturday, October 20th at 3 p.m. on NBC Sports.
And Detroit is one of the stops on that tour. And I'll tell you, a great rivalry. I remember in St. Louis they'd go against it. I remember a guy named Ed Lubanski. Boy, could he roll that ball down. And he'd go against Don Carter and Ray Bluth and Dick Weber. I'm a bowling fan.
I gather so. Did you ever set pins? I did.
In the church basement?
No. Set pins in the
No, we had a bowling
alley.
alley. St. Aloysius had them.
Brutal. Now they have the automatic pin setters. Okay. Jack Morris has been knocking down Padres like bowling pins as we go to the 7th. Ball 1 to Greg Nettles. Grounded out and popped up. 0 for 2. Ground ball right to Bergman. He'll walk it over. 1 away. That's 11 in a row. When Jack Morris pitched his no-hitter against the White Sox, he retired the first 9 in a row. Then he had a little control trouble and hit a stretch where he retired 5 in a row. Then he hit another stretch where he retired 7 in a row. He's that kind of a pitcher. He gets in gear, and it's awfully hard to get him out of it. Here's Kennedy. 4-1. Kennedy homered in the 2nd inning, flied to left in the 4th. Oh, he's out in front of that.
Oh, you can see that bottom drop out, and you can see that Parrish wanted a fastball, the outside part of the plate, and Morris shook him off. He put down that 3, and here comes the thing.
He started that swing yesterday.
Look at this. Well, see, the arm speed is that of the fastball, and that's what makes it so tough.
1-1. And he promptly hits it right at Lemon. So Jack has retired 12 in a row. The Dirty Dozen. Kurt Bavacqua is coming up, and Champ Summers is on deck to hit for Martinez. And if Summers comes up, especially with anybody on base, it really makes some noise here. He hit 40 home runs in his tenure in Detroit. One year he hit 20. Right. So Bavacqua with Summers to follow. Boy, what a fairy tale World Series for Kurt Bavacqua.
That is obscene what he just did. He threw a fastball in the 90s, and then he changed speeds, and there's no way your body can respond that quickly.
The under response, Bavacqua backed out and heaved a big sigh.
Well, he's trying to rewind is what he's trying to do.
0-2. And another one to get him looking. He sent up a balloon to strike him out. 13 in a row retired by Jack Morris. And at the end of 6½, the Tigers have the Padres by the neck, 4-1. The Goodyear Blimp America from Houston, Texas. The pilot is Captain Mark Kinnett from Winter Haven, Florida. And to navigate through the fog, the blimp is equipped with the same radar system as a commercial airliner. Jack Morris all smiles, and well he should be. He has retired 13 in a row. The last Padre base hit was Tony Gwynn in the 3rd inning.
And you remember that first game when he came down the stretch, he really went to the whip. He smells the victory, and he comes down hard.
Craig Lefferts will now pick up for Dave Dravecky. He came down hard, and the Padres come from behind victory, the game that Ed Whitson started. And he'll be pitching to Dave Bergman, Lou Whitaker, and Alan Trammell. Lefferts from Munich, Germany, came up with a dandy screwball 2 years ago in Hawaii. He had been in the Cub organization, and he was trying to throw a screwball like Bill Campbell, but it hurt his arm. And the Cubs said, hey, don't wreck your arm. Stop doing that. And then when he went down to Hawaii, he learned to throw it with another motion, and it's gotten him to the big league. 2-1 to Bergman. High fly ball to right center. Bobby Brown will put it away.
And as you can see, Lefferts much more comfortable pitching off the stretch, and even with nobody on, he works off the stretch.
By the way, and I'm sure he's watching this telecast, Billy Connors, the pitching coach of the Chicago Cubs. Lefferts sure thinks highly of you. He was saying that Billy Connors is a genius. He's as good a pitching coach as there is in baseball, isn't it? Kind of nice to pass along.
It is. Well, Billy works hard. He did a great job with Steve Trout and the Cub pitching staff.
Well, here's Lou Whitaker. Strike. Whitaker aboard on an error in the first inning. Trammell hit it out. Single took second on an error in the third. Hamill hit it out. Whitaker doubled in the fifth inning. Trammell singled into third, and they stayed there. 1-1.
Whitaker, as we look at Trammell, Whitaker's certainly in the tradition of great second baseman here. Charlie Gehringer did nothing but be on base and be quiet, and that's what Whitaker. Quiet, but always on base.
Marvelous, these two. What a knockout punch right at the top of the order. Whitaker and Trammell. 2-1. Little ground ball at the end of the stick to Templeton. 2 away. By the way, a fine performance by Dave Dravecky. He came in after Schau had let it get away. Dravecky worked 3 1/3 innings. No runs, 3 hits. But this is what happened to Schau. Not just once, but twice. Here he is for his 4th at-bat. He has 2 home runs and a single. Strike 1. High fly ball. I don't think he got enough of it, and Martinez will get all of it. And the Tigers are gone in the 7th. At the end of 7th, the Tigers and Trammell and Morris 4. The Padres and Kennedy 1.
Hi, I'm George Foster of the New York Mets. Every major leaguer has his own style of play. Some have speed, some have strength, and some have control. But one thing that's never in style is drugs. They won't make you faster, stronger, or help your control. So keep your own style. Don't be a yes man. Say no to drugs.
This message was furnished by Major League Baseball in cooperation with the Players Association.
Hi, I'm Bob Uecker, Mr. Baseball, hosting tonight's Saturday Night Live. You know, this being World Series week, I go back some 20 years ago to the 1964 world champion St. Louis Cardinals. Being a member of that team, I played a very important role. Excitement reigned in '64. Excitement here tonight, Saturday Night Live. By the way, I didn't play in a single game in that series. That's why they won it. Back to you, Joe and Vin, in Chicago, or wherever you are.
All right, Bob, and good luck to your school where you are teaching little leaders pass balls so that their families can go home early.
You know what he did in one World Series? He was out in the outfield playing the tuba with the band and catching line drives, and the guy was going crazy. He was using a tuba to catch it. Should be a great show.
Look forward to it. Right now, Tim Flannery hitting for Carmelo Martinez. Then it'll be Gary Templeton, and we'll see about Bobby Brown. Fouled away, off to the left. It was Flannery who came off the bench to hit that hard ground ball that went through Leon Durham. And the beginning of the end for the Cubs. It's Flannery, who has been with San Diego since '79. So he had reason to shed tears when they beat Sutcliffe and won the flag. And he lines it to center. Lemon has to play it on a hop, and that breaks the string. Morris had retired 13 in a row, and Flannery singles to center. At third base for Detroit, Tommy Brookins. Brookins replacing Darrell Evans, and the hitter is Gary Templeton.
Bergman playing behind the base runner. He just motioned to Morris. Templeton has been jumping on that first ball. Let's see what he does this time. They'll put something extra on it, I'll guarantee you that.
First ball swinging. Boy, they really got the book on him. 1 away. I said it once about Bob Gibson. I can say about Gary Templeton. He hits like he's double parked.
But the key word, the operative word, is he hits. He's been hitting, and if you do jump on the first ball and hit it, that's okay.
258. Well, here's Bobby Brown talking about hitting. He has that dirty dozen. 0 for 12. 0-1. Jack Morris gave up a hit to Gwynn in the 3rd inning, and then gives up a hit to Flannery in the 7th. In the 2nd inning, he gave up a home run and a double. Foul back. I tell you what, we're going to have to hear from all the precincts to decide the player of the game. If it stays this way, who are you going to elect? Jack Morris or Alan Trammell?
Split him.
High pop fly, and Whitaker angling out. 2 down. Down in the Padre bullpen. With the team down by 3, it reflects the San Diego position. He needs some work. The Goose. Champ Summers is going to come up. So they're looking for the home run ball. As we said, Champ hit 40 here in 3 years, including 1 season when he hit 20. Champ is the first to recognize that time has just about run out for him, and this will be his first World Series at bat.
Could be a consideration in the choice.
I wouldn't be surprised. He's getting in under the wire. Pitch gets away, and down to second goes Flannery. 0-1 to Champ Summers, and I bet you he's fighting some butterflies.
Has to. Here's a replay on that pitch. Straight down, bounces in front of Parrish. Summers goes for it. Wild pitch.
So Flannery at second on the wild pitch with 2 out. 0-1 to Summers. 4-1 Tigers. Top of the 8th. Fouled away. And the Champ is on the ropes. 0-2. Got him. Jack Morris strikes out his 4th. Flannery is left at second. And at the end of 7.5 innings, the Tigers 4, San Diego 1, and then tomorrow. The Padres would certainly be between that hard rock and push and shove and everything else you've ever heard about and the old cliche, because they're in a lot of trouble.
They are, and the starting pitching once again let them down, and pitching was pretty good all year. It got them here, but it certainly isn't keeping them here.
And then again, for the umpteenth time, the man who comes in, Dave Gravecki, was great, and now Lefferts has picked it up.
And now the Goose for his first appearance.
Couple of changes for San Diego. Time called by Doug Harvey, the third base umpire, so we get a chance to tell you. Tim Flannery is in left. Ron Renicky in left field. Flannery at second base, and Gossage on the mound.
And the Goose is one of those guys, he wants the ball. He will not fool around. He'll get the ball, and it'll be right back at you. You can't stop him dilly-dally when he's on the mound.
Boy, they're going to reduce this game to the fundamentals here, with Gossage throwing as hard as he can and Gibson swinging as hard as he can. And we'll see how it comes out. Popped up. Flannery.
According to the gun, the first pitch he threw was 95 miles an hour.
I could believe that one. So Kirk Gibson, who broke in the big leagues against Gossage and struck out on 3 pitches, has improved to the extent that he has popped up. And here's Lance Parrish. Grounded out, fouled out. Aboard on that busted bat play by Nettles when they got Whitaker at the plate.
Oh, that got Richie Garcia. And I mean, it's a nasty crack because his position, he's wide open. Oh, he's going to have a dandy bruise. Got him on the right leg. I mean, he's talking to himself. Look at his position. He's wide open. He took a nasty one. They used to get behind the catcher more.
In fact, that was the biggest single difference between the National and the American League. The American League umpires wore an outside chest protector and stood behind the catcher. The National League, an inside protector and inside the hitter. 2 down.
They're more open, and then they're doing something else. You'll notice Richie Garcia puts his hand on the catcher's back. He's not holding you. He just wants to feel which way you're going to go, is the explanation they give me.
For San Diego, Joe, and looking back through the scorebook, you realize they've done it again since the 3rd inning. They have allowed 3 hits and no runs, and now is 2 out in the 8th. It's always the people coming out of the bullpen who succeed. 0-1 to Tommy Brooken.
The goose is thrown between 93 and 98.
And he hasn't worked in a while.
No, he hasn't. And Terry Kennedy could break in the glove in 4 minutes.
0-1. Ground ball to short. There's Templeton. So the goose pitches well, but it's not going to mean anything unless the Padre hitters can shake themselves against one of the great pitchers in the game, Jack Morris. And at the end of 8, 4-1 Detroit. Here's the way the scoring went. In the first inning, Whitaker aboard on an error. Trammell a home run. 2-0 Detroit. In the second inning, Kennedy hits one upstairs to right to make it 2-1 Tigers. In the third inning, Whitaker singles, takes second on Gwynn's error, and Trammell a home run to make it 4-1. And look at this, 87 pitches. In the last inning, Jack made 12 pitches, and they were all strikes.
Look at the difference between strikes and balls. That's the difference between a good pitcher and the mediocre pitcher.
Morris facing Gwynn, Garvey, and Nettles in the 9th inning. Fouled away. Jack trying to turn in 2 complete games in this World Series, and the numbers make him a lock as far as winning. The last pitcher to throw 2 complete games in the same series, Mike Torres of the Yankees, turned in 2 complete against the Dodgers in '77. Bouncer down to Whitaker.
The most pitches that Morris has thrown in any one inning is 15. He did that in the second inning.
A walk in the park.
And you'll not see, you caught a glimpse of a smile, but he doesn't very often do that during the game. After the game, a little different story, but he's coming down the stretch.
It might be a little premature for the series, but it certainly would appear to be appropriate at this stage with 1 out in the 9th inning. Garvey is 2 for 15 in the series, 0 for 3 today. Hit to left and hooking, and that will go for the base hit, banging off the fence. Garvey's going to go for 2. Herndon's throw to Whitaker. He is in there. Down by 3 with 1 out in the 9th. Just did get in there, like he did last night.
Right, and that's one of the few pitches that he got up. Herndon makes a good throw. Whitaker took a good look as he takes the tag. And you watch and you'll see how close it was.
And that hook stayed on the bag. So Nettles, the batter, grounded out, popped up, grounded out again. 0 for 3. He's had 2 hits and 8 at-bats. Garvey at second, 1 out in the 9th, 4-1 Detroit. Strike outside part of the plate. Nettles, you saw him kind of back off on his heels. He was looking for a pitch inside that he could pull and hit out. So Morris really fooled him with the location. 0-1. And he won't give him an inside pitch, so he pulls the outside pitch, and it's an easy out. The Tigers are 1 out away from going 3 games to 1, and they're up.
to score. He simply overthrew that when he was going for the strikeout, and he overthrew it. It cost him a run.
Tigers 4, Padres 2.
Trying to block it, the split-fingered fastball. This crowd's going to tell you what's happening.
And they're chanting, "Who cares?" Line to right at Gibson. We'll be right back. Thanks to the generosity of the Miller Brewing Company, light beer from Miller happy to present 2 checks for $1,000 each in the name of Alan Trammell and in the name of Jack Morris to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society. And let's meet them both and go down to Len Berman.
Thank you, Vin Scully, both of the co-MVPs with me now. Let's start with the man who pitched the second complete game in the World Series. Jack, were you at any time tiring out there?
Well, I really didn't feel that strong early in the game, and I didn't really feel that strong late in the game, but I had enough rhythm. I didn't have the velocity I don't think I had my last game, but my control was better, and I was on top ahead of hitters, and this guy right here got me the runs I needed.
I'm curious to see if you know. Do you know how many straight you retired?
No, I don't.
All right, it was 13.
It's good enough.
Did you feel that the strikeout of Kurt Kvotko on the 2 slow pitches, maybe that was the exclamation point on it?
Well, I know Kirk. I played with him, and I know what he was looking for, and I figured if I can get it over, there's a good chance he's going to hurt himself. And it was just a good pitch. You know, I think I surprised him.
All right, let's check out Alan Trammell. Let's see, 1 home run in the playoffs, 2 in the World Series, Mr. October.
Well, I couldn't be happier, and I know I'm not a home run hitter, but the best thing about it is they were game winners, and Jack pitched outstanding, and we're up 3-1 right now. I'm just a very happy man right now.
Did you have any inkling coming to the ballpark what kind of day this might be for you?
No, I tell you, a lot of times in World Series it brings out the best in you, and I'm playing against my hometown team, and I'm trying to do the best I can, and so far everything's going very well for us. It's just great to be here. You know, it's a dream come true to play in a World Series, and especially to perform well.
Congratulations to both of you, to Alan Trammell and Jack Morris. Let's go back upstairs to Vin and Joe right now.
Okay, Len, and Joe, what about your thoughts in the aftermath of the ballgame?
Well, I think if you're a young pitcher, take a page out of Morris's book. Get ahead of the hitters. He made 99 pitches, Vin. 73 of them were strikes. They certainly had the momentum going in. He just kept it going. It's going to be a tough road for San Diego, but they've got a lot of bulldog in them. I've been using that word, but that's the best word I can find to describe that ball club. Their starting pitching has just not really been up to snuff at all.
Well, the only starting pitcher for San Diego to even go 5 innings is Mark Thurman, and he'll go tomorrow against Dan Petrie, and that's the Padre position. Game 4 of the '84 World Series brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Holiday Inn Hotels, a better place to be. For worldwide reservations, just call 800-HOLIDAY. By RCA, creators of video technology that excites the senses. And by Light Beer from Miller, an official beer sponsor of Major League Baseball. The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weissman. Coordinating producer of the World Series, Harry Coyle. The World Series produced by George Finkel, directed by Harry Coyle. Pre-game produced by Les Dennis. Pre-game and replay director, Andy Rosenberg. Replay producer, Kenneth Edmondson. Technical director, Lenny Stucker, and replay technical director, Bill Tobey. Remember, tomorrow we'll be here in Detroit for Game 5 of the World Series, and we hope you'll stay with us as NBC Sports World presents a great boxing doubleheader with Boza Edwards battling Charlie Choo Choo Brown, Irishman Barry McGuigan, fights Felipe Orozco live from Belfast, Ireland. That's the World Series tomorrow. Mark Thurmond and Dan Petrie. And the question, too, will Dick Williams stay with the same lineup, or will he finally decide I better shuffle my cards for one last deal? So the stage is set for Game 5, with the Tigers leading 3 games to 1. And the heat will be on young Mark Thurmond, the left-hander who went 5 against Jack Morris in the opening game. Right now, let's take a trip to the old sod, to Belfast, and to Marv Albert and Bertie Pacheco.